Alright, let's play What Does My Hometown Look Like on Flight Sim. Right now I'm flying around Williamsburg. That right there in front of me is the brewery for Anheuser-Busch. And this over here would be Busch Gardens. It's not rendered that well. It's kind of a shame because I think Disneyland is very well done. It looks like a bunch of houses and stuff there. Kind of weird. You'd think something like that would be rendered properly, but I guess they just don't. I don't know. I mean, they got the loops for the roller coasters and whatnot, but and the Fest House and lots of other stuff. But nothing's perfect. We'll continue on. See what else we got here. I live close by. Yeah, that sun glare is nice. It's an add-on livery pack I got from, what was it, fs2020addons.org or something. It's pretty nice. I went flying on X-Plane a little while ago, and I gotta be honest with you, it's hard. It's hard to get into X-Plane when you've already been into this for a while. The visuals are just... I care about the visuals, and I probably shouldn't, but I do. There's a little trailer park down there.
Norfolk approach icon Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra 1,000 feet.
Look at all those methods.
Icon Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Norfolk approach continue as planned.
I shouldn't say that. I believe that over there is a Walmart distribution center. They built that a few years ago. It's oh, for some reason they don't have their own trucks there. I don't know why, but that's what that is. And there's another big building beyond it. Out there. That's the Army Air Force Exchange Service. My family basically built that place. That's how I ended up in Virginia. And it's right next to Fort Eustis, which is out here to the right. It looks pretty good out here. I mean, even if it doesn't have the photogrammetry, rendering and all that, it still looks really good. I mean, that warehouse building's not bad. That one's not necessarily so great there, but it's not the worst. And I get a little bit of stuttering on here whenever it starts to load up a new section and all that, because there's a lot to load here. I do live in kind of a metropolitan area. It's, for those that don't know, it's called Hampton Roads or Tidewater, or maybe you might call it the Norfolk metropolitan area. I don't know, but it's 7 cities. It's Newport News, Norfolk. Newport News, Hampton, Virginia Beach, Suffolk, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth. We're all combined. And our cities here are the size of counties because Virginia, we have super cities, which once you become a city, you're no longer part of a county. So, right now we're flying over the city of Newport News, which stretches pretty much all the way down here to the horizon. And halfway across the peninsula. It's a pretty big area. And that's Fort Eustis over there. I wonder if they got the Transportation Museum. I haven't been on Fort Eustis in a while. But no, they don't have the Transportation Museum modeled on there. Why would they? But there's some cool stuff there. And that's the new entrance to the base. That wasn't there for a long time, and it just one over here behind me or below me used to get really, really congested. And so they built this new one. Comes out next to a shopping center up on Warwick Boulevard. Right there. A lot of people that I know used to live in that apartment complex right there. And they got transferred up here. Most of the houses look okay here, but a lot of the bigger buildings are not rendered very well. Like those apartments do not look like what they look like in real life, but it's okay. I don't expect perfection. There's some things I'm scratch my head about, like why aren't they included? But I really don't expect perfection. There's a rail line. Newport News was built on a railroad. It was always going to be a rail city. It's one of the biggest rail hubs in the area. That's where I live, next to the rail hub, unfortunately. We cross over 64 here and fly along Jefferson Avenue. That's pretty much the commercial center strip of Newport News, and it just stretches from one end to the other. It's the road I live on. Newport News Williamsburg International. It used to be called Patrick Henry Airport. Still, I mean, it's airport designation is PHF, so I hadn't strayed too far. They just changed the name. I forget when they did, but they used to be known as Patrick Henry Airport. You see right across the street. I think we're flying over. There's a Ross there, GameStop, and some other stuff, Smoky Bones, and whatever. There's some nice apartments over here. There's a shopping center over here with Lowe's. Or Lowe's right there. Home Depot's right there. Walmart's right there. No, I take that back. I'm completely mistaken. That's a Kohl's. That's a car dealership. That's Lowe's. That's Home Depot. And that's Walmart. I wasn't far up enough. If you come down here, you can sit there and watch. On pretty much any given day, you'll see 737 that just does circles, touch and goes all day long. It's painted up, same colors as Air Force One. And I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think they do training flights or whatever, but all day long you'll see them just circling and doing touch and goes in between commercial flights. There's Patrick Henry Mall there. See, the cool thing is I can actually recognize these landmarks at least. And X-Plane, I need to use my map in order to be able to get around out here. And FS, 2020, I can VFR it and use, visual cues to be able to guide myself. That's where Office Max, PetSmart, Target, used to be a Toys R Us there. There's a Whole Foods over there. That's Jefferson Labs, that area. Out there off to the right is this for Newport University in that area. where the field is. That would be Todd Stadium. Right up here is where some friends of mine own a hotel. And I make use of this area right here for some of my business. That's Newport News City Center. Apparently, that was it's one of the first ones that was ever built in the country, and a lot of places have come and, copied its design or used it as inspiration because it's supposed to be really well laid out. And it is pretty well laid out. It's a nice place. I don't know why that building's not rendered. It's actually a really tall building. It says Langley Federal Credit Union on it. I'm not sure if they own the whole building or just the rights to put the sign up, but there's movie theaters and all kinds of stuff, apartments around here. It's a really nice area. It's one of those experimental, live and work communities, and unfortunately most people who work there can't afford to live there. But that's another story. That is Riverside Hospital, and there's the Mariners Museum over here. Down there is the Lion's Head Bridge. I guarantee you that's not modeled, but it's a cool place. And you barely see the James River Bridge out there, and that's definitely not modeled correctly. It looks like just a college way to go straight across, but that's a major shipping lane, and that's actually a drawbridge. It's got a giant, riser in the middle of it. No, not in the middle of it. It's more towards the Newport News side. That's Smithfield out there, and Suffolk, Carrollton, and Smithfield's farther on. But that's where Smithfield Foods and all that. That's over there. And there's the railhead, but you see where the rail starts to split out and all that. Oh, there's Langley Air Force Base out there to the left. That's a cool place. And NASA's out there also. It's not, I'm not sure if it's actually on Langley Air Force Base or just adjacent to it, but it's definitely right out there. That's Hampton. That's Hampton over there, and then that's Yorktown back there on the other side of the airport. And over here, there's an area called Hilton Village. It's one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city. And the houses are like really tight together and tall and everything. It's kind of cool, but you got to park on the street and all that, which I don't appreciate. I wouldn't want to live there because of it. That used to be a mall right there called New Market Mall, but now it's just a shopping center. And there's where shopping center where I do most of my shopping right there. Because I live right up there somewhere, and I'm not going to tell you where because I don't want to stalk it. And out there is the Coliseum Mall. They tore that down, and yeah, they don't have the Coliseum rendered very well. But they tore that down a long time ago and built one of those outdoor, you got to walk around to, outside each individual stores, which honestly, I don't appreciate it. I think it's stupid. But there's a marina I used to have a boat in. And that is the Newport News Shipbuilding. They build aircraft carriers there. It's been there for 150, 200 years, something like that. It's been there for a long time. I'm not exactly sure when it was opened, but The Battle of the Monitor and Merrimack in the Civil War was fought right out here, and one of the reasons was because they used this shipbuilding area to refit the CSS Virginia, which is what they call the Monitor. I'm sorry, the Merrimack. The Monitor was the northern ship. The Merrimack was a ship that was captured by the CSA, and they renamed it the CSS Virginia and refitted it with an iron top on it. And then they had their famous battle out here in the James River, right out in this area. And that's why that's called the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel. And off to the left is the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. That was the first one in the area. This one was built way later on, but it was definitely needed to alleviate the traffic over there. The problem is that there still isn't that much traffic that comes through there. Most of it still comes through there, and it's backed up every day. The reason is you got to go all the way around Suffolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and Norfolk to get back to it, unless you want to pay a toll on 264 to go through the tunnel. Most people are not wanting to pay a toll. This big hunking square of land out here, I have no idea what it's for. They built it a long time ago. I honestly thought they were building another tunnel, because that was a speculation they were going to build. They were going to build another tunnel in the middle somewhere to, better capture some of the traffic and whatnot. And I always thought it would probably come off the naval base, because that's where most of the traffic comes from, is the naval base over here. And I thought it would, 564 would come out and just basically cut out the middle. Probably come in somewhere around here, but they didn't do that. I don't know why. But they built this big old square of land to do God knows what. I have no idea what that's for. I've seen it so many times, but I have no idea why it's there, what it's for, what it does. It's a big old mystery, I guess. But that there in front of us is Norfolk Naval Base. It's not rendered very well. There are some ships on there that are rendered, some not.
Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra. Request clearance to transition Charlie airspace.
But it's not so bad. And then stretching down beyond that, and beyond that is ports. There are ports all the way around. Pretty much all the stuff you see sticking out around the shores is nothing but ports. You start seeing some of the ships coming in. There's definitely a hospital ship over here that is rendered pretty well, but the rest of them are not so much. And they have piers that come out, all up and down this. Not saying that Microsoft should have that my area is better than everybody else's area, but there are some areas that kind of make me scratch my head about okay, they did photogrammetry there, but they didn't do it here, and it kind of baffles me. I don't know why, but they didn't do it here, and it's not like this is top secret. Everybody knows this is here. You can't miss it. I believe it's the biggest naval base in the world. I could be mistaken on that. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's it. Definitely not allowed to be flying over here. That's for sure. But this ain't real life, is it? So what the hospital ships? It's still not resting right. This thing is resin in decent enough. I do think they could have done better with that. This area right here is called Willowby Spit. Got a lot of nice beach there. A lot of people like to park their boats out there, but you gotta be careful because the Navy is, for some reason, is always doing something out in this area. They just, a lot of times you just see them out there hovering with helicopters. I think they might be doing training for SAR teams or something, but I'm not totally sure about that. I don't try to get up in their business too much, but you'll see them out there just hovering for hours on end. Maybe not, 100% of the time, but I'll drive down to Virginia Beach and then come back a couple hours later and they'll still be out there doing it. So, whether they left, come back, or a different team or whatever, I don't know, but it does seem to be a pretty frequent thing. What kind of planes do they have there on the ground? I guarantee you that's not what they actually have on the ground. There's a cargo airport, from what I can tell. There again, I wasn't in the Navy. I don't know. I never served there, so it's just my speculation. But I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what they do there is cargo, because all their fighter planes end up going to Oceana, which is down Virginia Beach. And there's a better look at the Hampton Bridge tunnel. Get the two causeways that come across. They go down there, back up there, and into Hampton. Getting a little long with this video, so I'm gonna fly the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. Just starting to see a little bit out there, and I'll cut it off at that point. But I am happy with the aerial views. Like I said, X-plane. I tried to fly on that earlier. I loaded it up. I jacked the graphics up as high as I possibly could. Flew around, and it's just like I'm just not feeling it. And I feel bad because I genuinely like X-plane, but honestly, it's not holding up. It's like going back and playing GTA 3 after you played GTA 5 for a couple of years, and it's just like the story might be good, everything might be good about the game, but it's just you just get taken out of it because of the graphics, and that's something that Austin Myers, I think, hopefully he'll address, and maybe step up the game a little bit. The truth is, when I put it up on 4K, which I can run this in 4K about at high settings, at about 30 to 35, 40 frames a second. It does get some stuttering, especially when you try to load up different areas. But, I mean, just sitting in the middle of nowhere, I was actually in Monument Valley, was where I started, just to see if it was rendered. And unfortunately, it was just, the frame rate's terrible. So I don't even think X-plane is as optimized as this is. Same machine. But you can start seeing a little bit of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. It's a long one. There's right there. That's where one tunnel goes under, and there's another tunnel that goes under there. On a hazy day, if you're out in the middle, you can't see the other side. Clear day you can, but if it's kind of hazy outside, you really can't. Foggy. And I'm not talking about dense fog. I'm talking about pretty light haze. But anyway, when it was built in 1969, it was the longest bridge in the world. It's still the longest automobile tunnel in the world. So, still has that distinction. The English Channel Tunnel is longer, but they don't let people drive through it. Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel is nothing but, you know, they don't have trains or anything that go through there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that this is Little Creek. Amphibious base. Could be wrong about that, but it's pretty close to here somewhere. I'm not as familiar with the Norfolk side as I am with the peninsula. But this is definitely a Navy base here, I know that. Go ahead and set it down somewhere. Since I'm in a float plane, I can set it down pretty much anywhere around here because there's an awful lot of water. I get a little bit of stuttering and whatnot when it tries, you know, when you go from like, I think it loads in like blocks on Flight Sim, and you have to download it. And honestly, my internet connection is not the best, so it'll kind of stutter while it's downloading. You know, if I had lightning fast internet, maybe it wouldn't do that, but I don't have the fastest internet. It's not that much better than dial-up. Because basically it is. And it's just Wi-Fi off my phone, so. And apparently 5G doesn't mean anything because it seems to work the same as 4G. I guess they just want to give us cancer. I don't know who they is. But we all know who they is. Well, at this rate, we're going to end up down the Virginia Beach oceanfront. That is Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. I've been across it many times. And the houses out here actually look pretty decent. They're not... Oh, come on. Stuttering. They're kind of just chunky little blocks when you get close to them, but you know, I mean, this thing is designed to be viewed from, you know, several hundred feet at least, not right up close. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if those windmills exist. I've never seen them. I'm not saying they don't, just don't know.
Icon X-ray Golf Sierra, you're leaving my airspace. Resume on navigation. Contact Oceana approach on 123.9er. 123.9er, Icon X-ray Golf Sierra. Oceana approach Icon Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra 100 feet. Icon Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Oceana approach continue as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Hopped a little bit. Probably should have put some flaps down. That's okay. That looks terrible. That is not what the hotels in Virginia Beach look like. Promise you that. That looks terrible. They didn't even try with that. I mean, I get it, there's satellite imaging and all that, but okay. Alright, we'll leave that there. I know it's kind of long, but oh well. It's my video. Nobody's going to watch it. We'll see you in the next one.